politicians are trying to drag us into another war in the Middle East that could spark World War III with Russia. What are we gonna do? We're gonna stand up and stop them. We the people together as one. Here's a message to the world from the American masses who are having an awakening and getting off their asses. When it comes to Syria, we the people say no. It's time for us to sit a war out and lay low. If you do a little research, the motive's quite clear. For a better explanation, you could click right here. But I'm gonna do my best to break it down, because the implications of a war in Syria are profound. First off, let me say it was a crime against humanity. Whoever used the chemical weapons has lost his sanity. But do we really know it was Assad, or is it a facade all based upon a fraud? They lied about Afghanistan, they lied about Iraq, they lied about Vietnam by faking an attack. They lied about the NSA, they lied about the banks. So when it comes to war in Syria, fill in the blank. No more war, no more war. A war in Syria we cannot afford.
Yeah, we just heard from James and the Giant Beats, No More War in Syria. Brother Johnny Achi, representing Arab Americans for Syria. Welcome to KPFK.
Hello, Dedon. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, it seems that there's proliferation of rap songs and other songs trying to stop the war in Syria. So the cultural revolution is occurring also.
Absolutely. Great to see that.
Can you give us an update on what's going on in Syria? We only have about 5 minutes because we have a full program on JFK, but it's important for us to stay abreast of what's happening in Syria, because we know in a moment's notice the United States may change its political stance in terms of negotiation and go for war.
Absolutely. I'll try and be quick. On the ground, Dedon, things are moving very quickly in Syria in a very positive way. The Syrian Arab Army is gaining ground on the terrorists at a very fast pace and on all fronts, which made the West and the U.S. obviously realize that if they don't get to Geneva II quickly, they will be left with nothing to negotiate with. Okay, a cry for salvation of Syria was the slogan of a recent meeting happened in Istanbul by a new group called We Are All Syrians. It's an independent opposition movement that has a lot of moderate voices to offset the West-backed expatriate coalition. And they all agreed on the importance of ending the bloodshed and building a united Syria. Okay. Now, also earlier this week, members of the coalition, they also voted at a separate meeting to go to Geneva. Now, remember, just 2 weeks ago, they said they won't be attending Geneva II, which is, that change in position is absolutely to the credit of the Syrian Arab Army. Today, the coalition president, Ahmed Jarba, said they wanted to end the Syrian suffering. Now, the concern of the international community and everybody else is that the two jihadist groups affiliated with Al-Qaeda in Syria, one is Al-Nusra Front and the ISIS, or the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, that they will refuse, of course, any deals agreed in Geneva II. Mr. Jarba again said today, contrary to what he has been saying, he said that these groups do not represent our revolution, that they came from outside to steal our revolution. Now, that's the same guy. Just 2 weeks ago, he was saying these people are part of the revolution, and they're not terrorists. So we can see the change in tone and the change in position, and that's, again, all to the credit of the Syrian army. Now, you might say, or one might argue, if the Syrian army is moving so quickly and defeating the terrorists, why even go to Geneva II? That would tell you, Dedon, what we've been saying all along, that the Syrian government is truly believing in that the solution to the Syrian is not just a military one. We do need the political solution. The civilians caught up in the conflict are desperate for it to end. Okay, and the fear among many Syrians, if without a political solution, the fighting might continue. Why? Because the funding and the arming of the terrorists and the flux of jihadists will continue to come into Syria, and without the international political solution, that will not stop. I just spoke with my uncle today. The terrorists feeling the end of it, that the end is near, are raining Damascus. That's the word is saying. He said the city, Damascus, is raining with mortars. They are shelling the Qasat district again, and we've talked on your show many, many times. This is a civilian areas, totally civilian neighborhoods, have nothing to do with the conflict. They are receiving 20 to 30 mortar shells every single day. So he was telling me that we have nowhere to escape. Each day we go about our lives not knowing if we will see the next. So we definitely are going to Geneva II. Today it's looking like the Syrian army had put the pressure on. The U.S. realizes that without Geneva II, they're going to come out with nothing. So it's looking very positive. And the coalition, including Jarba and everybody else, is forced today to go. Hopefully next time we speak, in a week or two, there will be a date set for Geneva II, and we go from there.
I look forward to returning to Syria as part of the celebration. But let me ask you one last question, one question in particular. There seems to be strong external forces saying that Bashar al-Assad and Abbas's party cannot run for the elections that the government has promised. Has that been agreed upon by the opposition forces, that we are all Syrian forces, that in fact there can be fair democratic elections and Bashar al-Assad can run together with Abbas's party?
Okay, now what they're saying is that we agreed to go to Geneva, but with one condition, that, the Syrian government can come to the negotiation, but there will be no future for Bashar al-Assad. That's just talk, man. You try to, go prepare for something, and hopefully you can get something less. The Syrian government, existing Syrian government, is going to be in negotiation, and President Bashar al-Assad has the option. If he wants to run, he will definitely run. He's gaining control. He's got the whole country backing him up. Today, the National Defense Movement, which are people and their neighborhoods, are helping the Syrian army defeat these terrorists everywhere in the country. So if they want true democracy and they want, to see freedom and a reform and system, why not allow everybody to run? And if he is not to be, chosen, let's see who else can be. But he's definitely, if he chooses to, there will be no veto on him. And that's part of the deal that was made by Russia and the United States when Syria surrendered its chemical weapons. We're going to Geneva II. Bashar al-Assad is going to stay in the future of Syria.
We'd like to thank you, Johnny Achi, Arab American Syria. We have to move on, but once again, we'll have you on next week. We thank you very much.
Thank you, Dedon, for having me.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.